say they're, you don't seem, you're good. Oh, I'm fuzzy. Focus. There we go. Now we're better. Right. Hello to everybody. Just wait for a few more people to get logged on here. So I'm like running today. So I'll just wait for everybody to kind of log on here for a minute. So hello to everybody. If you're seeing a bunch of those replicating numbers, Lindsay, in one day, it's a good time to ask for what it is that you want. So, because that means to tell me that you're naturally in a high vibratory state. Those are the days you want to ask God for what it is that you want. That's what you want to do. Sorry. All righty. Yay. But yeah, Lindsay, those are the days you're going to ask. Be like, all right, God, this is what I need. And if you don't know what you need, best, like I said, yesterday, today are extremely good times to really say what it is that you want, because it's a great time to manifest, or at least put your intent out there. Been seeing replicating numbers so much. Yep. So you'll see, once you see replicating numbers, you'll see them every day for the rest of your life. Like, you won't stop seeing them. You'll just see them every day for the rest of your life. So it's your job to interpret what they mean for you, because they might mean something different. So for instance, 222 means for me to keep focusing in on what it is that I want, because it's on its way. And if Eric sees it, it means that he needs to rebalance and recenter. So everybody, like I said, everybody interprets those numbers differently. So your best bet is just to try to figure out what they mean for you. So what are you thinking about at that time? Or what we may have been going through at that time to help you determine what those numbers mean for you. So 6s are all about money. You're worried about not having enough money instead of focusing in on what it's like to already have it. Looking to move, how soon will it be? I wouldn't be moving right now, not in a Mercury retrograde. Nope. We don't sign contracts. We don't make big moves in a Mercury retrograde. You just don't do that. Because it's the contract will bite you in the ass. So whenever there's Mercury retrograde, it's time to go, like, pause and redo things. So redo your unfinished projects, redo anything that needs to get redone. So especially cleaning the house and just kind of getting the basic chores done that you need to. That's really what Mercury retrograde is best for. So it's not necessarily the best time for new beginnings. It's not time to start new adventures, even though we have an eclipse and a new moon. It's just a little bit different right now. So that's something like, just hold on. Best time to try for another baby, whenever. So that doesn't really matter lunarly or anything like that. Nah, it doesn't matter. So let's see, it's retrograde again, right? I know. I would wait to do the car shopping, Stacy. You'll buy a lemon. So don't buy, unless you're really looking over the contract, you know exactly what you're signing. Try not to, like I said, try not to buy anything new. It's not about new stuff when Mercury is in retrograde. So, like, it's not really a good time to start a new job or go on a first date in a retrograde. Like, not good. So let's see here. Moving at the end of June, not a choice. That's okay if you move at the end of June, because Mercury is out of retrograde in 3 weeks, so you're good. Let's see. Daughter wrecked my car over the weekend. Am I okay about a new one this weekend? You are, Amanda. Like I said, just make sure you're very aware of what you're signing, that you know what you're signing. So that's the main thing. Just know what you're signing for sure, and pay attention to the contract rules and all that. So we've been in the process for manifesting something big and new. So just keep prepping and learning until after May. That's right. Mid-May. So you just have to May 15th and this will be over. So after May 15th, it's like, it's time, it's move time, it's go. So, but like I said, if you can wait until after May 15th, great. And if you can't, you can't. I mean, sometimes we just can't, but if you can, it'd be better. Yeah, that's the hardest part. How do you know if you're intuitive? If you're watching me and I'm not pissing you off or annoying the hell out of you, then you're intuitive. You're intuitive if you see 1111. If you see 1111, you're psychic. If you see 1111, you are psychic, because at that point, you don't have imagination anymore. You have intuition, and that's what intuition feels like. So it feels like I feel like I would get paid to use my imagination all day. That's what it feels like. That's not the case, but that's what it feels like. So headache on the top of your head, barometric pressure drops. Sometimes, Trevor, sometimes it is when we have like a shift like we had with the Schumann resonance spike that we did. You'll notice that my hair for the last 3 or 4 days has been kind of up like this because my crown chakra really hurts, and I don't want my hair moving because it hurts. So it's been blowing open everybody's crown chakras, and that's why your crown is like feeling itchy, creepy, crawly, or like it kind of painful, almost headachy right here, especially on the right side. So that's just the energy and how it is. The best thing I can tell you is get outside and ground. So feet to earth, get outside to ground. So it's just kind of, it kind of waves here. So, but we're also in a solar maximum. So expect solar activity to just kind of continue. We're just going to have to roll with it. So, yeah, it'll last till about, like I said, the retrograde lasts until May 15th. So, Cancer, my husband's a Pisces, we clash. He wants to separate. Do you see him changing his mind? Why would you want to be with somebody who doesn't want to be with you? That would be my question that goes to you. No, it takes 2 people to be in a relationship, and sometimes it's more comfortable just to keep somebody around like a roommate. But if that person doesn't want that, you have to let them go. That's why I'm like, that's what this eclipse energy is all about. It's kind of like, if you're not going to do it, Spirit's going to help you do it for you. And especially people are being ostriches right now. They're like, nope, I know something bad's going on in my relationship. I just don't want to see it. I'm like, you're going to see it. It's going to be made blatantly obvious in between the eclipse season like this. So eclipse season started yesterday. It lasts 2 weeks, then it's over. But it's all about drama. It's all about bringing the crap up so you can deal with it once and for all. And that's why I'm telling you, if people are starting to walk away from you, let them. Do not chase them. Let them go. Let them go. So it's okay. Let them go. If you're seeing your birthday numbers, Emily, that's the same as kind of seeing 1111. It's just letting you know that you're tapped in, you're intuitive, you're enlightened. So it's just letting you know that you have a connection to your higher self now. That's what it kind of represents. Do I have a sense of housing market crashing soon? No, I don't. I think there's a lot of people that are like, oh my gosh, we're going into recession. I'm like, not really. Not really. I'm not buying the hype of what everybody on the news is saying, because if that's the case, we would have seen it by now, and we're not seeing it yet. So now, do I think there's going to be a financial shift or something like that? Probably more towards October. Yes. So, but again, this is out of our control. So worrying about it or trying to guess about what might happen or the what if scenario, I don't do what if scenarios. I don't. God will give me never more than I can handle, and I will cross that bridge if or when I even get there. So, what does it mean if your soul blocks your purpose, passion, skills? Your soul would never block your purpose, passion, skills. Your soul would never do that. People might, but your soul would never do that. So, and the only time you would block, you're blocking yourself, but the only time you would get blocked is because it's the wrong time. It's a timing thing. So it may not be the right time, but right concept. Is hair falling out part of this retrograde? No, not really, Laura. So that sounds more like a nutritional deficiency or a hormonal one. So it very well could be related to your thyroid. Let's see. If you get a job in Mercury retrograde, it's all good. So just understand that what happens is when Mercury then goes direct, you may look at your job and go, "Ooh, God, why did I do this?" So like I said, that has a tendency to, it's kind of the rose-colored glasses always fall off when Mercury goes direct after the retrograde. So I feel like I'm being called to be a healer, or maybe I just want to be. How do I know? How do you learn? So take a Reiki class, Kathy. I teach Reiki. So it might be time just to teach a Reiki class. I actually recommend to my students that if they're unsure if they should take a Reiki class or Enlightenment Academy, do Reiki. Because once you understand how energy works and how you can tap in and tap out and get that energy to really flow, it makes Enlightenment Academy or those psychic abilities or those mediumship abilities a little bit more easy. So I always tell people, start with Reiki. That's always a really good one. That's how, I started out doing paranormal research. Then I was a Reiki master. Then I did psychic mediumship readings. Now I'm a teacher. So sometimes your purpose very well could be ever evolving too. So, but get started somewhere. Why not follow that curiosity? Because your curiosity will always lead you to your purpose. It always will. What does it mean when you keep dreaming of exes? It means that you are responding or reacting the same way in your relationship now as you did with your ex. So, or you're bringing your issues that you had with your ex into your current situation. How do you interpret mirroring numbers? Those are just the combination of the two. So if you see like 1551, that means to tell me that change is on its way. And you already kind of know about it. So let's see. Thoughts on Ayurvedic eating? Absolutely. Can dementia be misdiagnosed? Yes. Yes, it can. People, the more intuitive you become, the less logical you are. So oftentimes you'll like forget what you walked into the room for, or your handwriting gets worse because your brain is working so much faster than your logic or your handwriting can comprehend. So oftentimes people that are pretty naturally intuitive, especially later on in their 60s and 70s, get misdiagnosed for dementia when they're just intuitive and they don't need their logic, they need their intuition. So that was the number one reason, honestly, why I retired from doing readings after 10 years, because I was noticing that my logic part of my brain was not working nearly as smooth as my right side, which is the intuitive side. So that's when I'm like, I've really got to start, really working on doing more brain games and more stuff like that. So went to a salvage furniture store this weekend, felt fine until I walked into a small room, chest is heavy. Yeah. So I will tell you, Jessica, that is the number one reason why I do not do antique malls. Nope, you won't. No, ma'am. I do not like antique malls for that exact reason. You walk and you just happen to touch a piece of furniture and you want to puke. So I'm like, I can't handle that. So between that and hospitals, no. Psych wards, no. So I have a really hard time with the residual energy that's still in there. So I do not attend. So, what does dreaming about my living dad mean? Carrie, it means that you probably are currently working on some issues when it comes to your dad. So that's actually not a bad thing. How to lessen COPD symptoms. Trevor, honestly, work on your heart chakra, work on your grief, work on your loss, work on understanding it, transmuting it, and forgiving it. So, because COPD is, it's grief. It's grief at its most core level. 2-year-old son keeps talking about a ghost in the house. I have told it to leave, you sage. It's scaring him. How can I tell if it's family? It's not family if it's scaring him. It's not. So if you go to my website and go underneath my resources, it still says readings at the top, but if you go there, there's a lady there. Her name is Amanda. She can go clear the room for you. Roy can too. So there's 2 different people there on my page that can go clear that room. So, or the house, it might be time to bring out some big guns, because if your son is telling you he's seeing a ghost, it's a ghost. Like, it's not going to be a spirit guide, because if it's a spirit guide, they're going to have a weird name for it, like Bobo, Gigi, woo woo, something like that. But if a kid is telling you, no, there's still somebody here and I can see him, hear him, you got to get rid of it. But tell your son, he needs to tell that spirit to get lost too. So I want to empower the son not to be scared, but to pull into his power and say, you need to leave. I don't want you anywhere near me. Let's see. Is levitation a real thing? Can negative spirits do that? Yes, they can. They can transmute energy that way. Absolutely. Best way to start meditating? Anyway. There is no right or wrong way. The other day, I went outside with a cup of coffee, watched the birds outside on my patio. That's meditating. Okay. I had my eyes open. I was just looking at the birds. That's meditating. So however you want to try to do it, I learned best by staring at a candle or doing a guided meditation. Plenty of them on YouTube for free. So knowing and understanding medical jargon from a past life. I think it is, Emily. That's where I think I got it from. So yes, I do. What does it mean when you keep dreaming about an ex? I already talked about that. How do you get clear on your goals? Don't do such long-term goals. Do short-term goals. So do something that you feel is a little bit more achievable. So maybe 3 goals in 6 months, 3 goals in a year. Let's see, would low oxygen levels be caused from grief, heart chakra issues? Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. That's where it's that your heart chakra is associated with your lungs and your heart and breasts. So chest, that's all heart chakra. Absolutely. Was pulling tarot cards and my protection candle exploded, like broke. What does that mean? That means that it literally did its job and it took a hit. So that's a good thing. My chest gets heavy when I walk into Soul Clo. I've never been there. I've never had an interest to. I can't even go into Von Mar. I set foot in there once and I about threw up pretty quick. I was like, I'm like, oh, I got to go. Like I forgot what had happened there. And it's like the minute my legs went in that threshold, I couldn't handle that. Thoughts on cyclical vomiting? Can't find the root cause. Tara, if it's not hormonal, which my suspicion is probably hormonal, if it's not, you literally can't stomach something or you're really fighting for a right to something. So a lot of it is that you really can't, like, you feel overwhelmed by the situation and you need to purge, you need to get rid of it. You're holding on to your emotions too much. Got to meet your spirit guide. Yay. 8-year-old keeps getting strep throat. Molly, it's because you keep telling her to sit down and shut up. It's because she wants to tell you why she's doing what she's doing, but she can't because she knows that she's going to get in trouble. So yes, Brenda, I do teach Reiki. How do you tap into light language? Melanie, that's a good one. I think people, you either have that ability or you don't. So I think start with meditation. Obviously, that's usually where we start. But that does not resonate with me. But I do know people that can do that. That's not my gift. That's not my gift. Why do we get shot constantly throughout the day? Wendy, because you're more EMF sensitive like I am, get a shungite bracelet. So like just get a shungite bracelet. And if it breaks, you just go get another one. So being targeted by negative energy that is coming from hate being sent to me, how do you stop it? Protect yourself, but don't focus on it. Don't focus on it. So, and some of it might be a little karma. So the biggest thing I can tell you is you're just going to put yourself in a big white bubble and you're going to say something like, God, angels, please surround me with the white light of the Holy Spirit. And you're just going to imagine yourself in a big white bubble. That's it. That's it. That's really going to help to protect your energy. So these aren't going, it's not going to be so bitey. It won't feel so, bitey. Hang on one second. Babe, did you turn the oven off? I don't think you did you, huh?
No, I guess I did. Why are you always yelling at me about everything?
I didn't yell. I can just hear it going. Best crystal to clear your cards. I don't clear my cards. I think if that's the case, I would think, selenite probably would be the best one, but I don't clear. I have tarot cards. I never clear them. Now, crystals I do, but tarot cards, paper doesn't hold a lot of energy for me. So I don't clear mine. Do I leave your job now or after the summer classes? After summer classes, not now. Now's not the time. So let's see. I shouldn't start a job this week. No, I wouldn't. Wait until after the 15th, after Mercury goes direct. Crazy dreams. Yep, that's pretty par for the course. A lot of people have been having a lot of really kind of crazy dreams, a lot of astral traveling too. Let's see. Can I elaborate on stomach issues? Yeah, it has everything to do with the lack of self-confidence. And for a girl, their dad's job is to help get them or understand the self-empowerment for themselves. And so if your dad isn't around, you are going to have a weak solar plexus and a weak sacral chakra. And that's a lot of times why people that, for instance, have depression usually have an abandonment issue by a parent. And then the depression lives in the solar plexus as well. So it's like a double whammy on your guts. So, but that has everything to do with lack of self-confidence, lack of willpower. So, what does it mean to hear swishing noises in your left ear? Usually, Angela, that's going to be your loved ones just coming in saying hi. Why are you exhausted all the time? Very well could be, like I said, that very well could be a nutritional issue. And the other thing, let your body rest. Your body's fighting something, let it rest. So, but also make sure that you're giving your body what it needs nutritionally. So I don't think people think about nutrition very much. And I'm like, well, if your body doesn't have enough B vitamins, it's going to be slow, sluggish, foggy brain. You're going to feel like shit. So yeah. What are your thoughts about using tuning forks for chakra healing? Not only yes, but hell yes, hell yes. Lost your daughter, you're ever going to be happy again? It's going to take a while, Jessica. When I will tell you that when a mother loses a child, and it doesn't matter what age, it doesn't matter what age, and when someone loses their soulmate, their true soulmate, it takes a while. It takes a long while, anywhere from 3 to 5 years before you pick your head up and you're like, okay, how the hell am I going to move forward? Because this is not where I was expecting to be. So, and then you have to figure out who you are all over again and try to feel comfortable with half of your heart ripped out. So just allow yourself enough grace to accept the fact that you're grieving, and not every day is going to be great. And, you know, not every hour is going to be great either. We just kind of have to take it one day at a time. We really do. Let's see. I've lost drive, desires, goals, dreams. Nothing lights me up anymore. Any advice to help? Yeah, Erica, get back to the basics. Get back to the basics. Number one, get your ass outside and do something different with your routine. For whatever reason, if you could take a mini vacation, I'm fully aware that we don't have a lot of cash here, but if you can even take a mini vacation, like just say get a hotel room downtown, or, you know, taking yourself on a cruise somewhere where you normally wouldn't go. What that does is it almost like it trips the brain out to go, wow, we're having new experiences. And once you kind of put your head back like that, then here come all these ideas that start popping in. So the best thing I can do is to tell you, get out of your house, get out of your bed, do not stay at home, get outside of your house, and just do something different with that routine a little bit. It really does help, really, really does. So it doesn't feel comfortable. I'm not saying that. Anytime you have to tell your brain that you're doing something different, it doesn't like it. So you kind of have to fight your brain a little bit on that. But get back to the basics, meaning that clean your house. Clean your house. Start there. So we always, whenever we feel stuck, you go back to the basics, which is cleaning your house. Go ahead and clean the house, remodel if you need to, and then meditate. Get back to meditation, and then get back to your basic goals. So where do you see yourself in 6 months? Where do you see yourself in a year? Don't worry about 3 to 4 to 5 year goals. Screw that. You got to be more in the here and now. So where could you go? What could you get? What could you do that's going to make you happy? Not anybody else. Fuck everybody else right now. What's going to make you happy? Because what happened is, my guess is, you self-sacrificed for everybody else. And now all of a sudden the light's on you and you're like, well, and you don't know who you are, where you're going, or what you want. So that's why I'm like, be selfish. It's time to be selfish. Do I offer an empath program? No, I just do an empath workshop. So, son, age 4, has inflammation of esophagus. Usually, Chelsea, at 4, it's because, again, much like strep throat, they want to tell you what's going on, but they're being told to be quiet a lot, or they're being told you're being too loud, you need to be quiet, everybody else can hear you. So when you constantly quiet a child, they end up getting strep throat or esophagus or ear, nose, throat issues. That's what it is. Too much noise, ear, nose, throat. So Why have I found my small amethyst angel laying on its side twice in the past month? It's on my meditation table every morning in the same spot. Nobody goes near it. Denise, then that means to tell me you probably don't need it. Probably don't need it. You think you do, probably don't. So feel like you're stuck in a depression and disconnected. When this last year you were on a high, felt so trapped and enlightened, how do you get yourself from the rut and back on that again? Exactly that. Go back to the basics. Like I said, that's the biggest thing I can tell you. Get back to the basics. Empath workshop next is June, sometime in June. So I get very hot at work, exactly 1 o'clock without fail. Will last about a half hour. Lacey, that very well. A lot of times what that is your body after you get done eating. It's your body getting like re-energized. So most than likely, Lacey, you probably don't eat. I'm guessing that you probably don't eat breakfast. So if you eat breakfast, you wouldn't have that issue. So I have to eat breakfast. I eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I have to. So wanting to move to the woods to be more a secluded place, want to be with animals and nature. Yeah, me and you both. So that's the main reason why I have a camper. And that is the reason why I use that camper a lot. So just because I don't, like I said, it gives me a change of pace. So it gives me more ideas. And number two, I like to be outside too. So that's why I have a bachelor's degree in horticulture, just because I love to be outside. Love to be outside. Turning 40 next week. Also have jury duty. Gross. Any tips for hitting a milestone during the retrograde? Celebrate it. So any chance I get to celebrate something, I'm celebrating. So cause of chronic skin issues. Jasmine, it's usually because you don't feel comfortable in your own skin. It's a lack of self-confidence. You care about what other people think about you. You shouldn't. You shouldn't. I don't. And maybe it's my age. I don't know, but I don't give a shit what people think about me anymore. Is it bad to get married during the retrograde or full moons? No, not really. Nope, not at all. I'm trying to think if we got, no, we didn't. What if you were born under a Mercury retrograde? If you're born in a retrograde, then Mercury retrograde isn't going to bug you at all. Like, it's actually going to be just fine for you. So it won't be an issue. Constant diarrhea, the reason, that's not necessarily emotional. A lot of that has to do with the frankenfood, but it sounds like you're getting some serious allergies. But when you're also detoxing, like letting go of friends, changing up your like house and like changing things up and getting rid of things, then that's often when we have diarrhea, because you're literally flushing out the old. So that's pretty common too. Better than constipation. Let's see. Will my daughter have to go back to work? She is on maternity leave. I have no idea. Hope not. So feel like God gave you more than a handle. So and every time you turn around, something goes wrong. You can't keep focusing on the negative, because God's just going to give you more negative to focus in on. So, and it's weird, because if you're in a pickle like that, you really do have to be in your own fantasy world. And I know that sounds strange, but you do. You have to be in your own fantasy world of like, okay, well, this happened, but I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm not gonna talk about it. I don't want to tell anybody else about it. It is what it is. I'm gonna let it go. I understand why it happened, so we're gonna let it go. So, and I know that sounds simple, but I've had a lot of practice, so that's why it's simple for me now. How do you give spirit energy to help them manifest? Spirit doesn't need energy to manifest. They can do it instantly. Humans need help. Spirit doesn't need help to do that. Humans do, because humans are full of doubt, stupidity, and everything else. So how can you communicate with your unborn baby? Meditate, believe it or not. And ask a question in your head, and you'll get a response before you get the question out of your head. You can also use a pendulum too. Sudden onset of heartburn. Heather, that has everything to do with your intimate relationship, or your relationship like with a husband, or your relationship maybe with a son or a dad. And it's just kind of being a little bitter. You feel a little bitter about what's going on or about a situation. Do I believe that we all have a destiny? I think by destiny, do you mean life purpose? Yes. I do think we all come into this world to go through a spiritual awakening, even though we're born enlightened. We go through a spiritual awakening, we figure out what our life purpose is, and we do our life purpose. That's the meaning of life, is to figure out what your purpose is. And for some people that may be pretty obvious. Other people, we got to work at it. So everybody's different, but don't think that a lady who makes pies and she puts love into those pies, that's not her purpose. Absolutely it is. So everybody has a purpose, but it doesn't have to be something big and miraculous. It doesn't. I think everybody wants to be like this superstar, or they want this miraculous thing. And when it happens, they're gonna be like, oh my God, everybody's going to know me. And I'm like, no, it's not like that. It really isn't like that. Is if you're doing something that you feel passionate about and you're feeling like you're making a difference in the world, no matter what it is, then that is your purpose. And who is anybody to tell you that it's not, right? Crystal for eyesight, optic neuritis. Julie, that would be iolite. Literally, but it's iolite. How to calm tremors. Janet, see, here's the deal with tremors and nerves. It takes a long time to rejuvenate nerves. And that has everything to do with the brain connection. And if it is a brain issue, then we have to work on your perfectionism issues, your anxiety, or your worry, internal worrier, maybe not external, but internal. So it has everything to do with, like I said, a high anxiety threshold or a perfectionism issue, or both of those. So if you work on those emotions, it'll put the body in a place of allowance to heal. So when I see falling stars, even though so cool, it brings death to a loved one. Is there a connection to why I see this? Nope, that's your sign. Mine's a crow. So that just happens to be your sign. What does 333 means? It means that remember your faith. Remember to ask God for what it is that you want, and that there's team spirit behind you to help. Anything spiritual to do with skin tags? No, because skin tags are more associated with your solar plexus, more with a pancreas issue, because sometimes skin tags coming all of a sudden out of nowhere usually has a tendency for insulin resistance. So that's kind of a sign for insulin resistance. So I would maybe make sure that, you might be like pre-diabetic or insulin resistant, which has everything to do with your pancreas, which resides in your solar plexus. So that means to tell me that your dad probably wasn't there for you when you were growing up, or if he was pretty distant. And then you don't have you really question your self-confidence. And so that's probably all where it's at. So if you work on the issue with how you were raised by your dad, then this will start to go away. Dad wasn't there at all. Yep. So that's a big one. And then, so knowing that, I would also make sure, so I would question if you would have depression as well. Fairies are real. Yeah, I know fairies are real. What about mermaids? So, in the book of Enoch, how it said that there was giants. So my question was, well, the giants came and they mated with females. And I'm like, but after you read the book, it said that, Enoch said that the women were also punished. And I'm like, well, then where did the women go? Because it says in the book that, the fallen angels got put in a desert off in a foreign country over there. I forget which one it is. Euphrates River is over in that area. So they're down there, but I was like, what happened to the women? And I went to bed that night, and that's what sirens are. They're the females because they got in trouble too, because you're not supposed to mate with angels, okay? But they manipulated females to have children. A lot of these females died giving birth because the babies were too big, but the females that did survive ended up being sirens, which are mermaids. So that, in my opinion, I think is where mermaids come from. So I don't know, I've never heard that, but that's kind of the connection that I put together. How do you know your intuition talking? Because it feels like your imagination, Danny. It does. Your imagination and your intuition at this point, same freaking thing. Same thing. Signed a non-compete contract and now have to wait 2 years to start my company. Any advice? Do everything. Do all your research now. Do all your research now and start by establishing yourself as an expert in your field. Yes, you fight depression. Yep, absolutely. And so the depression is the reason why you have the skin tags, because now it's going to tell me that you're possibly insulin resistant. So absolutely. Any other people with hearing issues today? Not so much today, but yesterday and the day before, a lot of people did. Is there a specific star seed on picky eating? No, but there's 3 types of intuitive people. One is an indigo. So I'm an indigo. You can't tell an indigo what to do, but we will destroy you if you lie to us with truth and integrity. And then the other ones are because we're having children, and those children are crystal kids, and crystal kids are extremely picky with not the food, it's the texture of the food. They're very picky about the clothes that they wear, not the color, the texture of the clothing. So they're very picky on how things feel. And those are crystal kids. So just Stephen was that way too. And for years it was pizza, mac and cheese, and lasagna and eggs. That's it. That's all he freaking ate. So pick your battles. So now he's 18, he eats everything, like too much. I have to go to Costco all the time because he inhales food. I hate Costco. Root of weight issues. 2 reasons. One, you vibe high at the beginning of the day and everybody comes talk to you and your energy drops. And then, somebody else comes by, energy drops, energy drops, energy drops, energy drops. So, you are letting these negative energy vampires take all of your energy. So then when you get home, you're exhausted. Number 2, you eat with guilt. Don't eat with guilt. You're going to have that bag of chips because you earned that bag of chips. Don't feel bad about having a bag of chips. No, do not have guilt when you eat. That's why it sticks to your ass. No. Seeking a new job in a retrograde. Wait till after, Wendy. Male friend says he has sex dreams every night, late 20s, and is married. He's wondering why. It's actually very common when you begin to go through a spiritual awakening to have those type of dreams, because your sacral chakra is fired up and opening. So weird as it might sound, it's fairly common. Interesting. What about the boomers with hypersensitivity? The enlightened boomers right now are having a huge time with hypersensitivity, especially with food and with noise. So actually that's par for the course. So, yep. My pendulum spins while I'm in between asking questions. Is that normal? It is. It's your energy causing it to do it. It's all good. Normal. Ask my spirit guide for its name during EVP. It said, "What's my name?" No. So spirit guides vibe a little bit higher than you might be able to catch on an EVP. So ghosts you can catch on an EVP because they're a lower vibration. Guides and angels are a little bit higher vibration. You may not be able, I wouldn't use the EVPs. I'd use the pendulum. Use a pendulum or dowsing rods or something else to communicate with them. Probably not an EVP because, like I said, you're going to have a ghost that'll come in and ruin the party. So why don't my guides, spirit guides, introduce themselves? Because you think you're ready, but your soul isn't ready. Your ego might be, but your soul's not ready. They'll introduce themselves when your soul is ready for them to. So, and in the meantime, focus on what you already know and perfect what you already know. Because the minute you stop and you kind of divert, you're getting yourself in a better place of allowance for that to happen. Birthmark that matches mom. Mine is similar. Tracy, my husband and his daughter have a birthmark that is the exact same thing, the exact same size, but his is on his butt cheek and hers is like on her hip. So yeah, that's how you know that you're in the same soul family as somebody if you share a birthmark like that. Let's see, having trouble finding a job, seeing anything coming my way. I don't know, but I wish you luck. Would a pendulum ever lie for an answer? It depends on the question that you asked. So if you're asking a question for yourself, then no. But if you're asking it, does so-and-so love me? Does so-and-so blah, 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 you'll get a false answer because pendulums are only meant for you and you only, between communication between you and your spirit guides. That's it. It's not meant, it'd be no different than if you came to me and be like, is my husband cheating on me? I'm like, my question's going to go to you. I'm not going to read your husband because I don't need to. Okay. First of all, if you suspect he's cheating, he probably is. Second of all, I'm going to ask you the question, why the hell would you allow that? Why is that okay in your world? Why? So that's usually where I'm going to divert the question. I don't care about him. I care about you. Why are you allowing him to do that? Meaning that he can do whatever he wants when he wants. He don't have to check in with me. Like, I have no reason not to trust him. None. So, but the minute I question that trust, we have a problem. So, but I've never given him anything not to trust me about, and vice versa. So, yeah. What does it mean when you have an experience in your dream and you're aware of it? So what that is, kind spirit, that is it's a type of like astral traveling type dream. But when you're able to remember it, it's called, I'm having brain farts today. Sorry. I'm hungry. It's called, crap. What the hell is it called? I'm having a total brain fart on that. Lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is when you can remember yourself in your dream and you can tell yourself in your dream to like wake up or turn around or whatever. I can do that. How specific do you have to be with your spirit guides? As specific as possible, really. I always like to tell people that, like, they're a lot like autistic kids. You know, you tell a kid, well, nothing gets over your head. They're like, well, nothing does get over my head except clouds and rainbows and birds, maybe a plane. You're like, okay. So, but that's how they are too. They don't understand your intent. They will only help you with what you're asking, which, by the way, you ask God source energy. Don't ask spirit guides. Like, all right, God, this is what I need. Show me how to get there. Weird shit's going to happen. You follow the weird. There you go. But a lot of people are all trying to figure out, well, do they ask their angels or spirit guides, or like, just go to the source. They'll send the right person for the job. Just go to the source. Okay. It's a lot easier. Do pets understand our feelings? Yes. As weird as that is, yes, they do. They blame themselves for cheating more than likely. No, they don't blame themselves. They'll blame you. They'll start accusing you of cheating. And you're just like, I just made you dinner. Like, what the hell are you talking about? So if they start blaming you, it's because they're cheating. How many underwater alien bases are there? I mean, off the top of my head, I'm going to say 5 or 6 that I'm aware of. So quite a few. Tips for dealing with insulin resistance, self-confidence. Work on your self-confidence. But ultimately, the reason why you don't have self-confidence is because your dad wasn't in the picture. So work on your dad abandonment issue. Fix that, forgive it. You won't have to worry about insulin stuff. Dream of somebody missing and looking for them with a dead mother-in-law. Chelsea, that's okay, because that's a reflection of you actually doing work on you. So that's not a bad thing. You're actually discovering who you are, being enlightened. That's all good. What am I drinking? One of them. An easy? I don't know. Eric picked it up. Birthmark, size of a dime on the outer left leg, probably for a past life injury. Maybe not dead, but just past life injury. That's all. Oh my gosh, dad wasn't in the picture. Yep. So that's, I'm like, we got to work on that. So like I said, and I'll tell you the best way to work on that, look at how your dad was raised. Look at how he was raised through his eyes. And more than likely, you're going to find out why he wasn't able to raise you the way that you deserved. It was because of the way he was raised by his parents. So, and if you can do that, it makes it a little bit easier to understand his perspective and see life through his eyes. It makes it easier to forgive. It really does. It makes it easier to forgive. I'm not saying it's easy, but it makes it easier. So, other than meditation, is there a way to know your guides? Yes. Ask before you go to bed. I know it sounds weird, but all right, can one of you show up before when I'm in my dream, please? And what you're going to do is you're going to see them and you're like, I know you, but we've met, right? I know you look real familiar. You feel familiar to me. Do we know each other? Have we met? Like, you look like we know each other. That's going to be them. Or it's going to feel like you met your soulmate in your dream. You're going to be like, oh, he is hot as hell. I am in. So it's going to feel like that, but it's not. That's just your spirit guide. So because your brain is going to interpret it as pure unconditional love. And so your brain is going to interpret it as a soulmate. That's what brains are weird. So if I forgive him, it'll make my life easier. Absolutely. I've forgiven everybody that's done me dirty. And I went back and apologized to people that I did dirty to. That sucked. Let's see here. Mom had hip replacement, has horrible pain, 5+ years, right leg. So Danny, a lot of that has to do with indecision. She can't make a decision probably to save her life. So as a result, she probably don't make a decision at all. So, how do you find out who you were in past lives? Yolanda, do a meditation, ask to see it in a dream, or do a past life regressional hypnotherapy session. Do not go to a psychic medium like me and ask what your past life is. And you want to know why? Because I can make anything up and you're going to buy it. I can make anything up. You would buy it. So, but I'm an evidential medium, meaning that I'm giving you evidence that you can go back and look. There's 2 things that I even teach my students. There's 3 things actually. One, I'm not going to tell you about your spirit guides because that's for you and your spirit guides to figure out. So, because they don't care if you think that they're a boy or girl, they don't give a shit. Okay. So the second thing, I'm never going to tell somebody when they're going to die. And if they do ask, I'm going to say, well, you're going to die tomorrow. So, and then they freak out and I'm like, well, then you're not living life. So what are you doing wrong? So, and then the third thing is I won't tell them about their past life because I can make anything up. You're going to buy it and there's no evidence in it to contradict that. So that's like, I could be guessing and you're like, oh yeah, totally. I know I've had a past life in Ireland and Scotland before. Really? Everybody has. That's how old it is. Can you be on the wrong path your whole life? No, you chose your life. Yeah, you might have been stupid like me and stayed in places where you shouldn't have been, but hey, that's how we learn, right? That's how we learn. Why did my boyfriend lie to me? Why do you care? Like, because he doesn't trust you, or because he's shady as shit, or because he's cheating on you, or because why would you have anyone in your life who would do that to you? Friend lies to me, don't own it, ain't a friend. So husband lies to me, cheats on me, bye, I'm single. So you have to have enough tits to leave when you need to leave. So, but you're allowing that behavior to keep occurring because you're not putting a stop to it. So how long can you be at a stage 4? Years. I was 4 years. I'm stubborn. 3, my stage 3, it was a good 4 years as well because I'm stubborn. Can you have multiple crystal grids in your house? Oh yeah. If you bump it, all good. Energy still remains. It's good. I've done that too. When you dream of someone that you know in life, their connection that you may be sharing a dream together. Oh, that's actually very common. So Paige does that a lot. Her and I will be in the same dream. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm just checking on you. I'm like, get the hell out of here. Like, get out of my shit. Like, get out of my dreams. But so you can astral travel. Both of you can astral travel and be at the same place at the same time in dream state. Absolutely. It happens more common than you think. I don't astral travel with people, but a lot of people will come to me and say, hey, you were in my dream. And so a lot of times I come in as an avatar of sorts to relay a message or to be a kind of a face as a fill-in spirit guide in a weird way. So a lot of people, like, it's daily. Somebody will reach out and be like, hey, I had a dream about you. And I'm like, and they now know it's not me. It's like an avatar. So, which is fine because either way, it's going to help you. So it's all good. The funny thing is that my spirit guide asked me if they had to ask me permission. And I'm like, well, I guess. I'm like, yes, if that's going to help them and it's going to be for their highest good, then by all means, I can be an avatar. That's fine. So I had a dream. You told me to get back into Reiki. Yeah, I'm like, I know, it's so weird. I show up in people's dreams and apparently I give good advice. So that's good. So I'm trying to let go. What can assist? Much needed. The biggest thing, Tracy, is don't hold on to who you were or the past, because those were all lessons that you learned. And trying to figure out who you are now is not easy. It's not comfortable. And you feel kind of vulnerable with that. It's okay to stay in that vulnerable state. It's okay. So, and that's where I'm going to tell you, if you get more comfortable with being uncomfortable when changes occur, it's way easier. So you're just training your brain to be vulnerable for a short amount of time. And after a while, it'll get longer in length. My daughter is going through similar things I did. The ages same. Okay, Lynn, I will tell you what. My daughter's 19. Love her to death, but I am seeing a huge train coming down the track, and it's gonna smoke her shit hard. And you know what? She needs it. She needs it. So I am your boat. I was naive like she was at 19. She's still that way. And I'm like, you know what? My mom backed off and let me fall. And that was the best thing she could have done, because I learned how to take care of me and not be a victim and not blame other people and anything else. So I'm at that point now where I have to do that to her. And it's a weird rite of passage, but yeah, she's doing the same things I did. She is. Been doing readings on random people, telling me details about the life in the past. Feels like my imagination. That's exactly what it feels like, Cheesy. That is exactly what it feels like. I felt like I would get paid to use my imagination all day long. That's exactly what it feels like. You're doing it right. And the less you think about it and you just say it, you're gonna be right. So like I'm like, why am I seeing a 4-leaf clover? Like, why is your dad showing me a 4-leaf clover? Oh, I just got a tattoo, 4-leaf clover yesterday. Ha ha. I'm like, oh, there it is. So, but if I would have been like, well, maybe they're Irish, or maybe if I would have thought about it, I would have screwed it up. So now when I see that particular image in my head, now I know that that's a tattoo, and it's Irish. So, how can you remember astral travels? Ask before you go to bed. Ask God to help you remember before you go to bed. Are children enlightened? Yeah, they're born that way. We were too. We just stopped it when we started the institution of school. There's a reason why they call it institution. When a loved one dies, son sees very vividly in dreams how they pass, knows stuff. Is he tapping in without knowing it? Yeah. No, I will tell you that I don't know how many nights, and my brother will validate this. I don't know how many nights I would wake up in my brother's bed because I would hear the ambulance go by, and I know who it was, what was going on, and if somebody died or anything like that. And oftentimes I would go upstairs and I would tell my dad, hey, I think your boss had a heart attack last night. And I never told my mother. So, but then I go, and my dad would be like, you know what? You were right. He did have a heart attack. I'm like, is he okay? Because he wasn't okay. And they're like, nope, he's okay now. I'm like, okay. So I had a really hard time. Still now, when I hear the ambulance, my heart just sinks, because I'm like, nope, I don't want to tap into that energy. So unfortunately, the spirit is going to go to the person with the least resistance. So sometimes that's kids. Significant others dealing with erectile dysfunction. Danielle, that has everything to do with his mother, not sexually. Okay. So remember how I was saying earlier that it's a dad's job to fulfill their daughter with self-confidence, and it helps to stabilize their solar plexus and their sacral chakra. The opposite for a boy, it's their mother. So that means to tell me that she passed last year. There's where it's at right there. So he's still grieving over his mama. So, and until he gets over the grief, which is on average 3 years, we're going to have this issue. They make pills for that. It's okay. Do I think it's permanent? No. But he's grieving over his mama. That's why. If you're seeing 1111, it just means that you're tapped in, you're enlightened, but it also means that you need to pay attention to what you're thinking, because your thoughts create your reality. So if you don't know what you were thinking, how are you feeling? Because your emotions are an indicator of what you're thinking. Can I trust my husband on not to cheat on me again? It depends on if he's a clear sheet of glass. If he has no problem giving you the phone whenever you ask for it, if he is a clear sheet of glass, to be able to work on that trust, and he is being open and honest with you, then yes, I'm a big person in forgiveness, absolutely. But the minute he starts acting shady, why do we read each other's minds, hubby and I? That's a great one, beautiful. So here's the deal. People are actually, if they're true soulmates, they can do that. They communicate telepathically. That is oftentimes where you see old people going out to dinner and they don't talk to each other. They don't need to. They're already doing it here. And they can even do it with a sigh. Like they know what the other person needs just by that. So there's actual telepathic communication between soulmates. But here's what's cool is that when one of those soulmates dies, in a weird way, it's very comforting because they still have that telepathic connection almost always. And they're like, oh no, I know dad's still around. I just know. And I'm like, they're not lying. They really do know that. Let's see. So my mom passed in the backseat of her car that I own now. What does she want to tell me anything? No, just letting you know that she's around. No, just that she's around. Hi. You just happen to catch her. Use the pendulum chart with the alphabet. Ask my spirit guide to spell her name. They spelled Polk. Do you think that's really my spirit guide? It depends. Did you ask to only speak to your spirit guides or only speak to spirit that's for your highest good? If you didn't do that protection prayer out the gate, then who knows who you're talking to. So you don't assume. You can't ever assume. You always, with any tool, whether pendulum, tarot card, Ouija board, whatever it is, you always want to set the precedence of, I only wish to talk to spirit that is for my highest good. That's it. So that's extremely important. So that way, you know that the information you're getting is from people that are for your highest good. So, but if you don't put that out there, you're just going to talk to somebody that just died on the Mormon trail. So you don't want to do that. Let's see. Yeah, I use tarot cards. I actually used to use them all the time in readings. Best way to improve finances. One, have a budget. I know that sounds stupid, but yes, have a budget. Know what your weakness is. So some people it's shoes, some people it's purses. Hey, so, but the other thing is when you are going to bed at night, do not focus on debt because you're marinating in that shit. So you want to focus on money coming in. So what does it feel like to have all of your debt paid and 10 grand in the bank? That's what you want to go to bed with. That's it. That's the stuff you want to go to bed with. That's how you manifest money. But you cannot manifest money by talking about how broke you are, about your debt, about how you can't pay for the bills, about this, oh, poor me. Can't do it. That's not how you manifest. It's not going to work. So, and I'm fully aware that we can't be happy and positive and cheery and rainbowy all the time. That's not being real either. So, but the biggest thing is make sure that you're really thinking about that before you go to bed. Using a pendulum. No, you don't need to close the pendulum. Nah, when you're done, you're done. You do the boards, but not those. Will I be able to reconcile with my mother before she passes? You can only own you. But I will tell you, if you have a parent who is a narcissist, they're only going to get worse upon their deathbed, just so you know. Do not have any hope or expectation that you'll be able to reconcile, because all you can do is your part in this. Within a relationship, there's two parts. And oftentimes, if they're narcissistic, they are going to be worse on their deathbed. They really will. And most home healthcare nurses, if they're at home and they're getting ready to cross over, if you don't want to be there because of their narcissism, they get it. They get it. They'll just give you a call when they pass. So that's where a lot of empaths have guilt, thinking that they need to be with their mother. I'm like, why? To be belittled and berated for their last moments on earth? Sometimes it's just best to be home and pray for them instead. And I know that sounds very cold, but again, you must take care of you in this life. That includes your family too. Main reason behind migraines, perfectionism. Perfectionism. Most migraines are from teachers and nurses. So perfectionism. Mom died of non-alcoholic liver disease. Did she have unresolved anger? Abso-fucking-lutely. Absolutely. And usually if they have unresolved anger with that, it's an abandonment issue, or their sexual trauma that may have happened to them in childhood, and they're mad about it, angry about it. Especially if the parents or the family swept it under the rug. Oh, we're not going to talk about it. Let's not tell anybody our secrets. So we're going to sweep all this under the rug and not ever talk about it. Really? You think your kiddo is going to be cool with that? No, it's going to mess them up. No. How do you get rid of your past trauma? Slowly and with counseling. Ankles constantly hurting or getting hurt. Spiritual reason, stubbornness. You're stubborn. You don't like change. So, but you're always supposed to change. Child migraines, same reason. Perfectionism. So Stacey, if a kiddo has perfectionism as a child, we have to watch their anxiety. So, and if that's the case, we have to make sure that when it comes to anxiety, that we force them to be uncomfortable with the presence of mom being around. For instance, my son, when he was 11, you mean I have to go to the grocery store? I have to go inside the gas station by myself? I'm like, yeah, $5, go get a gallon of milk. You know where the milk is. We've been to this gas station hundreds of times. Well, what if somebody's going to take me? Nobody's going to take you. What if I don't have enough money? I'm right here. I'm not going. I literally took the keys out and I put them on the floor. And I'm like, we are not leaving until you go in. So after 45 minutes, stubborn, after 45 minutes, he finally went in, got that milk, came in, and I said, was that so hard? Was that so difficult? You were so anxiety ridden over the fact that you had to do it, but now that you did it, it wasn't so bad, was it? And he's like, well, no. I'm like, then why did it take you 45 minutes to do something very simple? I told you I wasn't going to bail you out. This is something that you need to do. Like you eventually have to get out of my house. So you've got to learn how to take care of yourself. And this is part of it. And he goes, I don't know. I'm like, I don't either. Let's go get ice cream because we're going to celebrate because you did something that you didn't want to do. And I'm proud of you. So, but like I said, when it comes to parents, don't coddle your children. No, your job is to be a parent and prepare them for the real world. It is your children's job to teach you about spirituality and how to remain young. So that's their job. So we got to get them out of the house. That's what they're supposed to do. So we're not supposed to be friends with them. They'll be friends when they've earned that right. So, self-forgiveness, where do we start? I will tell you, Dolores, that hands down has been the hardest thing I think I've had to do. No, don't get me wrong, burying my dad sucked, but forgiving myself has been the hardest thing. But here's the deal. I didn't know any better at the time. I let my emotions get the best of me. I wasn't enlightened. I didn't know any better. So I had to learn how to forgive myself for not knowing things sooner or how life really is supposed to work. But at the same time, I learned how to forgive it when I owned it. So I have no problem telling people that my first husband, I cheated on him. I left him for another guy because I was going through a spiritual awakening at the time. I didn't know it like 17 years ago. I didn't know what the hell I was going through. So I ended up leaving him for somebody else. So I've had to sit him down, my ex-husband, and say, I owe you an apology. I was young, dumb, naive, stupid. I didn't know what the hell was going on. And you did nothing wrong to deserve that. You didn't. I did it. I screwed up our marriage. You didn't. And so whether he's over that or not, or he's forgiven it, that's up to him. But I don't have any guilt over anymore because I made that mistake, but I can freaking own it. And I'll tell you what, will I ever do it again? No, I will never hurt another human being like I did him. No. What does it mean to see a 7-7? 7s are good. That just means that you're on the right path and you're looking straight. You're doing it right. How can you learn tarot? I teach tarot card classes. I'm working on getting more things kind of online here. So, but I am planning on teaching that here pretty soon. I just have to figure out how. Not sure how. Almost all of them come with guidebooks. So if you go to Awakenings, a lot of times you'll see it. But if you go inside Awakenings, each one of our tarot card books or oracle or angel books each one has a sample, so you can open it up and actually look at them, because I gotta feel it. I want to touch it, right? I'm not gonna look at a tarot card deck and be like, maybe I'll buy it. I'm like, no, I want to feel it. So, do suicides see the aftermath caused by their deaths? Unfortunately, yes, they do. And they realize that they had the golden ticket in their hand and they didn't use it. So yeah, learn from my mistakes. I did. Like I said, but I didn't know any better at the time. And there's still shit that I do that I have to forgive myself for, because I didn't know any better at the time. Or I let my emotions ruin things. So that happens. And usually it's because I'm really freaking hungry and hormonal. So, but still, I should be able to be at a point to where, knowing that that could be me, I still have to be non-reactive to that, which is, that's my Achilles heel right now. I'm working on that one. Let's see, auto on bathroom light frequently when I get up in the AM. How do I know if it's a good visitor? Oh, usually, Marie, that's going to be a loved one. Yeah, almost always if they're monkeying with that and you don't have like a scared, like literally scared response, it's probably just a loved one. Yeah, your dad committed suicide. Yeah, that's a dad abandonment issue. Absolutely, yes. And like I said, look at how your dad was raised. You'll probably see why for him, maybe that was a valid choice. And I'm not saying that's a valid choice for everybody. I'm not, but a lot of times, especially with here in Nebraska, these older guys, these farm guys, say that they get Parkinson's. And if they get to a point where they can't feed themselves, they take themselves behind the barn. And they're done, because they don't want their loved ones to take care of them. That is a burden that they don't want to do. And usually that's the end result. So drawn to elderly people, Danny, go. So, and I'll tell you what, usually my enlightened people, if you're drawn to elderly people, I bet hospice care is where you're going to end up being. Because if you're a hospice care worker, that is the closest thing to heaven that you're going to get. I mean, really think about it, right? Can your soulmate be a lot older than you? Yes, absolutely. Age is irrelevant. So bumpy skin on kids, Yolanda, that is a gluten intolerance. So, and I bet they have tummy issues too. So that you got to watch the gluten. So I'd probably need an allergy test, a food allergy test for that one. Yeah. Yeah, so many children not being taught anymore. Parents don't want to upset their children. I will tell you what, my daughter is so pissed at me right now because she decided that she didn't think she needed car insurance. You don't think you need car insurance. Okay, well, you have the 25th until you get car insurance, or I'm repoing the car. And she's just like, oh, okay. I'm like, oh, I don't think you understand. Like, I have the keys to your car. It's my car. My name's on the title. Yours isn't. I will be repoing that on the 25th. I'll be repoing the car because she is not going to get car insurance because she doesn't think I'm serious or doesn't realize that this is reality. Like, I don't know. So she's 19. Frontal lobe isn't done developing. School of hard knocks. Fun. So I'll teach her. That's fine. Let's see here. Yes, hospice care is my heart. Never knew there was a meaning behind it. Yeah, that's the closest thing to get to heaven that you're going to get. Yep. It was a valid choice. I don't blame him. Had several mental illnesses. Yep. And Dolores, that means to tell me that both of his parents were not there for him growing up. So he would have no clue on how to be a parent. So, yep. Why are teens so angry and moody? It's their brains. It really is. It's their brains. So, and they're in an adult body with teenage brains full of hormones. Oh, fun. Yeah, we had all 3 kids. We have both of our girls are out of the house now. We just have the 18-year-old left, but our house was full of like hormones and filth. Oh, gross. All right. Well, I am going to let you guys go because I'm hungry. So I haven't gotten a chance to eat yet. It's 8:10. I'm freaking hungry. So, but anyway, Eric is doing a live crystal sale on Saturday. I have no idea what I'm doing next week. So, and the reason why is tomorrow I'm going to Sedona. I'm tapping I'm tapping the hell out. Like, I'm gonna leave my cell phone behind. I am unplugging. Like, Kelli needs to get back to the basics too. And normally I go to Sedona by myself. This time I'll bring a girlfriend with me because she's never been there, virgin. So I'm going to take her with me, but otherwise I am the person that I need to unplug and like no electronics here. We're just going to go chill. Like I need to chill. So as like I said, it's just, I got to figure out what I need to do with my life. So I've hit all my goals. I need to come up with some goals too. So, okay, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate it. Like I said, if you haven't, make sure you sign up for my newsletter. It's psychickelly.com. If you want to check out stuff from Awakenings, it's awakeningstore.com. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, I'll be back next week for some more Q&As. And if anything, like look into Enlightenment Academy or something like that. But like I said, have an awesome weekend. All right, guys, take care. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.